What's going on, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel, and it's great to have you. I wanted to make a video today about a question that I've been getting asked a lot recently, which is, did I have a moment, and if I did, what was my moment that I decided that enough was enough and that I was going to lose weight once and for all? And I do have a moment that I kind of had that realization, and it, for me, is a moment that I still can remember like it happened just yesterday. So I wanted to kind of go into that today, and maybe this will kind of help some people hearing this. To be completely honest, today I'm going to go over the shorter version and more just stick to that moment, because there's truly a lot of backstory to it that I don't really have time to get into today, and I think that that'll be more helpful things that I'll talk about later on in the channel. But for today, I just wanted to stick to the moment that I kind of realized that something had to change. And for me, that moment came in the summer after my freshman year. So this was the summer of 2017. So pretty much right after my freshman year of college, which again was summer of 17, I got pretty sick. And I got pretty sick with bronchitis. And it lasted honestly about half the summer. And at this point, I had had bronchitis for about a month. So I figured that I should probably just go in and see what was up. So I went into the doctor, and they bring me back, and the first thing that they do was they take my height, they take my blood pressure, they do my weight, and I had always had a bad anxiety with the weight, because I always knew basically that every time I went to the doctor, every time I went back, my weight was always going to be higher than the last time, and typically it wasn't just like a couple pounds. Typically it was a pretty significant change from the last time. So I kind of always had that anxiety going in, and I would always just kind of, fight a way to excuse it. I'd be like, oh, well, this scale is probably just off, or I've put on a lot of muscle since then, or I've grown, or, I would just kind of always have a different way to excuse it in the past. But this time I stepped on the scale after, again, being sick for a month, and knowing that I definitely weighed significantly less than I would have had I not been sick for a month. And I looked at the scale, and it was 313 pounds. For me, once I saw that number, I just shut down. I couldn't think. I knew at that moment I couldn't kid myself anymore. I knew that at this rate, if I continued doing what I was going to do, I was not going to live a very long life. I just knew that if I continued to put on weight at the rate that I had been going, that I honestly wasn't going to live to do a lot of things that I wanted to do in my life. And I think for me, that was a really shocking realization, because again, I had kind of blinded myself to the fact that I was so overweight, and I'd kind of just always excused it again with things like, oh, I'm taller, I'm growing, I'm putting on muscle. In reality, that wasn't happening. I was putting on fat. And I was putting on fat at a very alarming rate. It hit me that I had put on about 70 pounds my freshman year. And for me, that was very, very alarming. I know you always hear about the freshman 15, and to think that I had more than quadrupled that, to me, I was appalled. And I knew that the things that I was doing weren't healthy, but I honestly did not know how bad it was affecting me, and I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. I remember just getting home and I was in shock. I could not believe that it had gotten that bad, and I was scared, honestly, because I knew that I had to do something, but I also wasn't sure that I was capable of change. For me, I put on weight as kind of a defense mechanism, and it was kind of like, I put on weight because I was really stressed out, so I would eat and I'd feel better. Or I would just get comfort in eating things that I liked. And I was absolutely terrified that I was not going to be able to stop that, and that it was going to continue to get worse. To be honest, that point for me, although it should have been crystal clear, I definitely still struggled with it. And I think part of it was I didn't really know how to undo it, and I felt like a lot of the damage that I had done I couldn't really undo, and I knew that at some point I had to do something about it, but I kind of just felt like it was useless. There were a lot of times in between then and where I've gotten today where I've given up and restarted, but I think the reason that that moment stands out for me is because I couldn't hide anymore from the facts, and I knew that I was very, very unhealthy and that something had to change. To be honest, it's kind of hard to talk about still because it puts me kind of back in a dark time, and it kind of brings back some of the emotions that I'd had at that time, and just kind of how scared I was and how I felt so alone, and how I was wondering if I was just going to continue to eat myself into ruining my own life. Although it's hard to share this story, I think it's important, and I hope that it helps some people feel like they're not alone, because you're not. And if you can relate to a moment like this, as hard as it is, and it's awful, it can get better, and I have seen it get better, and it's been a long process, but it's been so worth it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I want to thank you for watching this video. Today's was definitely more of an emotional video, but I think it's important to be honest and answer the questions that people want to hear about, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that this helped you. I hope that some people could relate to this story, and thank you. See you next time.